Okay, I hope I am audible. All right. So the topic for today is the bisexual flower. Okay. So let's have a look at the flower. So mainly we will be studying about the different parts of a flower and its structure as well. Okay. Okay. So before I start, once let me just check if I'm audible. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. Okay, so join with us in Telegram for homework and class notes. You can join the channel Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology. So there is, you can just search it as class 9 and 10 biology. Okay, so Unacademy ICSE and ISC boards. So this link all you will find in the description box. So you can find the link over them. Okay, so you can join the channel for updates regarding the classes. Okay, so we also conduct free classes which we call special classes on Unacademy platform. So learn from your favorite educator for free. Okay, so every every alternate days each and every educator will have their classes, but in special classes it is basically only a certain percentage will be covered. So if you are planning to take the subscription, I'll anyway tell you the details about that. Okay, so you can also engage with educators via poll, then clear your doubts in the live special classes. So for the top special classes you can visit the link that is there in the description. So now coming to the Unacademy subscription feature. So how is it different from special class is, 1 second. Yeah, so how exactly this is different from special class is, in special class only a certain percentage of syllabus will be covered, whereas in case of the plus classes, complete syllabus will be covered. And this is so there so you can learn live from the comfort of your home, unlimited access to all the courses. So different educators will come up with different courses. You will have access to all the courses once you take the subscription. Then top educators of India are going to take the class in one platform, that is Unacademy platform. Regular doubt clearing session, so after about every 3 session, the fourth session that we conduct, so that is the doubt clearing session. Okay, so any doubts you have, you can clear your doubts using the doubt clearing session. So basically, if there is no doubt, we can also conduct a poll then. Okay, so then mentorship and guidance is given, study material is given, practice test, live test series, and batch courses also depending on your preference. So if you prefer to learn in English or maybe Hindi, English, okay, so you can go for any of those batches. You will have access to all the batches. Okay, then also there is daily practice section, weekly mock test series, live quizzes, daily MCQ and subjective test series will also be there. Okay, so if you are planning to take the subscription, so you can try with 6 months since it is for class 9. Okay, so it starts with the 6 months. All right, so you can try like how exactly this works, and if you are comfortable with this, you can even go for higher months of subscription as well. And with this referral code, that is Vani YT, you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. Okay, so let's get started. Let me just check once. Okay, all right. So introduction, moving on to like what exactly is a flower. Okay, so now when we mention about a flower, So it is, it is a modified shoot itself. So shoot is there, okay, that is the shoot system when we talk. So there is a floral primordium, okay. So this is a tissue on the stem. So what is that? There is a stem, okay. So this one is modified stem, okay. So this is now a modified stem itself. Or we can say a tissue which is, which can give rise to a flower, okay. So there can be flower arising. So that is a floral primordium. It is a tissue. So here which is there. So that is a tissue. So if we are talking about this also, we can clearly see with this picture. Okay. So now this is a stem. So you can see that this is a stem. And here you can see a leaf which are there. Okay. And then this tip what you see. So this is a tissue over here on the stem itself which is developing into a flower. Okay, so now a cluster of floral buds formed on the shoot. So now this is a shoot now. So there are cluster of floral buds. So it is not, in certain species we can see only one flower, or there can be many floral buds also which are formed on the shoot. Okay, so that is in some species, and that we call as inflorescence. So what is the meaning of that? So let's say this is a shoot. Okay, so we can see a flower here. Okay, so there can be combination of colors also, you might have seen. So basically here a group of flowers we can find. Okay, so group of flowers you usually find, and that group of flowers flower. Okay, so flower is basically a flower itself. Okay, so in that case this is modified one. Okay, so there are many floral buds. Okay, so these many floral buds what are there? So they are giving rise to a flower there. Okay, so in that case what will happen? So it is basically a modified tissue, or we can say a tissue which can give rise to a flower, and this whole structure what is there, which is having a lot of floral buds. So in that case we can say that it is a inflorescence. Okay, so you will study about this one in detail in further. Okay, so the male reproductive part will be there. So that is androecium, and the female reproductive part is gynoecium. So that might be developed. So now when we mention about a flower, okay, so there is a flower. So this is mainly we are studying about a bisexual flower. Okay, so what is the meaning of bisexual flower? When we mention bisexual flower, so there is a female reproductive part as well as there is a male reproductive part. Okay, so both of them are present. That is why we see that it is a bisexual one. So now when we mention it is unisexual. Okay, so when we mention unisexual flower, that means either the female reproductive part will be there or the male reproductive part. Okay, so both are not there. So now when we mention a flower, so flowers are the reproductive unit of a plant. So why do we say that the flower is the reproductive unit of a plant? Any idea on this one? Why do we say that flower is the reproductive part? What exactly happens, and how exactly flower is the reproductive part? Any of you? Any idea? No? Okay, so I'll say this. Okay, so now when we mention flower is the reproductive part, so that is basically the pollen grain. Okay, so pollen grain from the male reproductive part, so that is mainly from the anther. Okay, so this will be reaching the stigma of a flower. Okay, so later on the fertilization, so this is a combination that is occurring. So male and the female reproductive, or male and the female gametes are getting fused here. Okay, and because of that what happens? So there is a fertilization, the process we call as a fertilization, and the product that we obtain after the fertilization, so that can be called as the product. Okay, so product can be called as a zygote. Okay, so the zygote is the product here. Alright, so now flowers we say because they are reproductive part, because pollen grain will have a male gamete. Okay, so there is a male gamete which is there, so male sex cell. And now when we mention about stigma is their style, and mainly the ovary when we mention, so inside ovary ovule is present. So inside this ovule, so let me just write it here. Okay, so now when we mention that the plant is present, okay, so in that case there is a ovary. All right, so from let's write about a male reproductive part. Okay, so that is in case of plants. So let me just write this one. So this one, a male reproductive part when we mention, so what all will be there? So in when, okay, one second. Yeah, so it is basically a stamen. Okay, so in that case mainly the anther part when we mention, anther is having what? Pollen grains. So there are pollen grains, and these pollen grains are the ones which are having a male gamete. Okay, so there is a male gamete that is present. Now if I'm talking about the female reproductive part, okay, so now in case of female reproductive part, so what would be the condition here? So now here, okay, one second. So in this case we can find there is a stigma style ovary. Okay, so first the pollen grain reaches the stigma itself, then it will get into the style, then germination of pollen tube occurs, then it will be reaching the ovary. Inside ovary what is present? Ovule is present. Inside that ovule we can find the embryo sac. Okay, and inside that embryo sac again we can find what? Egg. Okay, so egg is now a female gamete. So this is now a female gamete. Here directly in the pollen grain we were able to see a male gamete, but in case of female reproductive part stigma is there. Okay, so let's just draw this and show you where exactly the stigma, style and ovary is present. Okay, so now this one, a stigma is there. Okay, so stigma, then there is style, and we will just show the ovary over here. So this one is a ovary. Okay, and we can just draw one ovule just to show. So there is one ovule inside here. Okay, so now we will just label this one. So this is stigma. Okay, so this one is style. Yes, Sankit, you can ask. Okay, you can ask. So now there is stigma, then there is style, and then there is ovary. Okay, so this is ovary, and inside the ovary we can find the ovule. Inside the ovule what we will find? Inside ovule there is a embryo sac. Okay, so now this one is a embryo sac, and this embryo sac is having what? So it is having a egg nucleus, that is egg cell is present. So egg nucleus. So now this one, the green one what I have drawn, so that is a egg cell. Okay, so this is a egg cell having the female nucleus. So what and what will combine? The male gamete and the female gamete. Where exactly is male gamete now? The male gamete is this one. So pollen grain is there. Okay, so this pollen grain what is there? So this will germinate, and it will start synthesizing the pollen tube. Germination. So on germination pollen tube will be produced, then it will be reaching this part where it will join with the female reproductive part. So that is mainly the egg, that is female gamete. Okay, so female gamete it will join with. Okay, so what has happened here? So when we mention about a flower, so flower is a reproductive unit as it is having two of the parts, that is male as well as a female reproductive part. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. One second. Okay, so we will first see what all different whorls are there. Yes, Ankit. Okay, so now our flower is having 4 types of whorls. Okay, so there are 4 types of whorl that we can find. So there is calyx, then we can find a corolla, androecium and a gynoecium. Okay, so group of sepal when they are there, so group of sepals are there, so that we call as a calyx. Okay, so group of petals are there, so that we call as a corolla. So this is for a group. Okay, so this one, a group of them, so this is group of sepal. Okay, so group of sepal, group of petal. Now group of what? Group of stamen. So if many stamen are there, so collectively we call it as a androecium. So that is the male reproductive part. So now group of, so like that means not just one is present, we will find many. So if a group of pistil or a carpel is present, then we call it as a gynoecium. Okay, so this is now this part what you see. So this is a male reproductive part. This part what you see, so this is a female reproductive part. Okay, so now with respect to that, let's have a look at the different structures which are there in a flower. Okay, I hope this is visible to you guys. Is the flower visible? Maybe I can go with the other picture. Yes, this, I think this picture is more clear than the previous one. Just a second. All right, so now you can see hibiscus when we mention. Okay, so hibiscus is actually, this is a bisexual flower. So as I already discussed with you all, so this is now a stigma. Okay, so here I have drawn, so stigma is there, style is there, ovary. So same way stigma, style, ovary is present. So male gametophyte, which is that male gametophyte? Male gametophyte is there, female gametophyte is there. So you can see, as soon as here they have shown a male gametophyte, right? I'll just clear this so that you can understand. So green one they have shown as the male gametophyte. What is the meaning of that? That means the pollen grain was there, pollination has already occurred, and it is forming a particular germination has occurred, and it has formed a tube, and this is it is going to combine with the female gametophyte. Okay, so male gametophyte. So now petal you can see, then inside this one, okay, so here they have given a sepal. Okay, so there is a sepal, so this is green in color. Okay, so most of the plant when we mention, or flowers when we mention, so some can have, hi Ridhima, good evening. Okay, so some can have, so now when we mention about a sepal itself, okay, so some will have a colored sepal also, so that is with respect to perianth. Okay, so we cannot differentiate between a petal or a sepal, so that we call as a perianth. So some perianth which are green in color, okay, so that we call as sepaloid. Okay, so if the perianth is not green, okay, so for non-green, okay, so non-green perianth when it is there, so that we call as the petaloid. So what exactly is perianth? When you cannot make a difference between a sepal or a petal. I'll show you some pictures, just a second. I think I added here, maybe, yeah. So in this one, okay, so now you can see this picture. Okay, so you can see this picture clearly. So you cannot say where is sepal or a petal here. Okay, so the sepal and the petal differentiation that you do not understand. So this is with respect to sepal and petal. So they both are fused, so we can say that this is a perianth. Okay, now perianth itself, if this was green in color, if this was green in color, then we would say that it is a sepaloid. Okay, so this one is a sepaloid. Now this one is not green in color, so it is actually purple in color, right? So what do we say that? So then if since it is colored one, so we call it as a petaloid. Okay, so we can just show you here. So instead of this one, I'll just show you this part over here. So here you can see this part. Okay, so this is actually a a petal or a sepal. So this is actually the perianth. So you cannot say whether this one is a petal or a sepal here. So in that case, this is green in color also, and you cannot differentiate between a petal or a sepal. So in that case, you can call it as a sepaloid. So this one is a petaloid. This one is a sepaloid. Is this clear? Any doubt? I hope what I have written is visible. Just a second. Okay. All right. So now, with respect to that, so let's go to the part. So structure of a bisexual flower when we mention. So flower is a specialized shoot itself. So that is a modified shoot itself. Okay. So all these first whorls we saw. Okay. So that is the outermost is basically a sepal. So group of them collectively called as a calyx. Now the second whorl, what is that? So that is a petal. Okay. So this is collectively called as a corolla. Now, let's have a look at the third whorl. So that is for a male reproductive part. So which is that male reproductive part? So male reproductive part, you can represent the male symbol. So this is the male symbol, and this is for a female. Okay. So now, it is a long thread like process, somewhat projecting out, and each usually ending in a bilobe tip. So what is the meaning of that? So let's see, there is an anther as such. Okay. So then this one is a filament. Okay. So it is, let's see, it is hanging, or maybe we can just show it like this also. Okay, so this is a bilobed anther that we can see. Okay, and this one is now a filament. Okay, so this one is anther. Okay, so both of them together, what do we call? So together we call it as a stamen. So if like this many are there, so collectively we call it as a androecium. So this is the third whorl. Okay, so this is androecium. So now in that case, it is a long thread like process, somewhat projecting out, and each usually ending in a bilobe tip. So you can find a bilobe tip there. So these are stamens collectively named androecium. Okay, so this is collective term. So collective means not just for one, so a group if it is there, so we usually call it as a androecium. So each stamen consists of a filament which is thread like, and a bilobed anther is present. Okay, so now moving on to the fourth whorl. Okay, so which is that fourth whorl? One second. Okay, so fourth one here is a female reproductive part, which is having the stigma, style, and the ovary. Okay, so with respect to that, again, when they are all fused, when they are free, so different names are there, but collectively when we mention, so it is called as a gynoecium. So if a group of the carpel or a pistil when you find, so that we call as a gynoecium. So each carpel consists of a basal ovary, a style is present, and an uppermost stigma. Okay, so this we will find. Now complete and incomplete. So what is the meaning of this one? If you remember, any of you, what is the meaning of complete flower, incomplete flower? When do we say that it is this flower is complete or incomplete? No idea. I'm not able to find your comments actually. Yeah, I think I got one carpal. So this was the previous one, right? Okay, anyway. So some comments I'm not able to find. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Yes, so complete. Yes, very good, Ridhima. Okay. So now when we mention about a complete flower, so in that case, contains all the floral whorls. So that means calyx is there, corolla is there, then androecium, gynoecium. So all of these are there. So in that case, we call it as a complete one. So then when do we say that it is a incomplete? So if any one of the part, okay, so if any one or more sets of a floral structure are missing, so let's say calyx is missing, let's say corolla is missing, or maybe androecium is missing, maybe gynoecium is missing. So in that case, if any one is missing also, we can say it as a incomplete or a imperfect flower. Okay, Yes, so no all holes. So all the holes, so it is all the holes will be there. Like, not all the holes will be there. Like, one or more might be missing. Okay, so there is a hole. Like, if no holes are there, then we do not call it as a flower. Okay, so holes are there, but not all of them. Okay, yes. No all holes meaning, okay, you meant to say that way itself. Okay, I got it now. So essential, that is reproductive, and non-essential, that is non-reproductive. So in that case, the parts of a flower. So why do we say essential? Essential for reproduction to occur. Okay, so when does the reproduction occur? So now when we mention, okay, so there is a reproduction that has to occur. So let me just, okay, here it is free. Okay, so now when we mention that essential flower is present, so what is the meaning of essential? Essential parts are those parts which are required for the reproduction to occur. So with what reproduction occurs? It is with the female reproductive part and the male reproductive part. So that is androecium should be there, or a gynoecium, or both of them. Okay, so anything is fine. So if any, like, let's say only androecium is present or gynoecium present, so in that case we call it as a unisexual flower. Okay, so if both of them are present, so in that case we call it as a bisexual flower. So today's class we are studying about the bisexual flower itself, where androecium is also present, gynoecium also present. Okay, so in that case the essential parts for the reproduction, when it is there, so that is called as the essential part of a flower. Non-essential is with respect to reproduction. So reproduction for with calyx or with corolla. Okay, there is no usually reproduction, not usually, there is no reproduction occurring with calyx or a corolla. So they are mainly there for the protection, whereas they are providing a protection to the male as well as the female reproductive part, but they are not essential for a reproduction to occur mainly. Yes, reproductive, yeah. Okay, so now essential parts of a flower are those that are directly concerned with the reproduction. So that is the male part, a stamen, which is in general, like collectively we can call it as a androecium. The female part, a carpel, so which is in general can be called as a gynoecium. Okay, so this is the symbol, and for this one this is the symbol. Okay, so now non-essential parts are simply the helping parts which are providing a protection. So they are providing a protection. Okay, and they make the flower attractive. So how does the flower, when we see a flower, so it is mainly the petal color that we get extra, attracted to. Okay, so they are attractive, so one thing, so that pollination can occur easily because they are attracting a insect also, they are producing a nectar also. So mainly it is attracting a pollinating agents. Okay, so now these parts include the sepal as well as petal. So in some cases the petals and sepals are undifferentiated. So we find undifferentiated petals, so I mean undifferentiated sepal or a petal, so that we call as a perianth. So when the perianth is non-green, so it is called as a petaloid. When the perianth is green, so like the sepals, it is described as a sepaloid perianth. One second. Non-essential reproduction could be done through cross-pollination. Okay, so it is not as such. Non-essential part is there. Okay, so in that case, the calyx and corolla anyway, they are not having a role in reproduction. Okay, so for that they need not have attractive petal or anything as such. Okay, so whenever a essential one, so let's say now non-essential is this one, so that is petal and a calyx, so they are always attractive. So why are they being attractive? Because they need to attract a pollinating agent, so that is insect, or maybe a human also, or an elephant. So whatever transfers the pollen, so those are need to be attracted. Now when we mention about with respect to reproduction, so for reproduction anyway always the essential part is required, Non-essential are not at all required for a reproduction. Okay, so they are just providing a protection. Okay, so but the statement what you gave about the non-essential reproduction could be, so that is for artificial pollination. So if a pollination is not occurring, manually we can do the artificial pollination. So but it is nowhere related to non-essential. Okay, so non-essential, there is no reproduction occurring because it is not a male or a female reproductive part. Okay, so in animals also, if we are saying non-essential for reproduction is what, if the legs or a hand, what are they? So these are not essential for reproduction to occur. So in that case, so we cannot say that through cross pollination or artificial method we can reproduce these through parts. So that is not possible because they are not at all required for a reproduction to occur. So main essential part when we mention, so it is mainly the male and a female reproductive part. So that is androecium and gynoecium. Is this clear? Okay. So now the perianth. So this itself, the perianth, when we mention, so sepal and a petal, so these are fused, or we can say there is no differentiation. Okay, so there is no differentiation, so we cannot differentiate between the sepal and the petal, so that we call as a perianth. So you can see this one, so this is purple in color. That means what? This is non-green. Okay, so this is non-green. In that case, what do we call? So it is petaloid. Now here you can see, so this is green in color. Okay, since it is green in color and we cannot differentiate which one is petal or a sepal here, so this is called as a sepaloid. So here I think they have mentioned sepaloid perianth also. So you can just write it as a petaloid perianth or a sepaloid perianth. Okay, so this is with respect to the flower that is there. So let's have a look at some questions. I think two more parts I did not mention here, maybe. Yeah, and this slide I did not show. Okay, so now types of flowers when we mention, so there is a bisexual flower. Okay, so which is having both androecium and gynoecium, and there is a unisexual flower. So this is it can have either the stamen or a carpel. So now let's say there is one plant. Okay, one second. Okay, so let's say there is a plant. Okay, so now in this plant, what exactly is happening? There is a flower production that occurs. Okay, so here one flower is being produced, here one flower is being produced. Okay, so in both of these cases, so these can be unisexual flowers. Okay, so let's say unisexual flower when we mention, so this one is a male plant which produces only the male flower. That means it will have the anther only. Okay, so that is anther and a filament. That means stamen only will be there. So there is no stigma, style or a ovary. Okay, so that won't be there. So let's say another plant is there. Okay, so now another plant when we mention, so this is actually a female plant. Okay, so now we can call this one as a female plant because this will have a flower that having a gynoecium. So there is a gynoecium present in here. So let's say this is now the flower. Okay, so you can find a gynoecium here. So now what has to happen? So through the wind or maybe through the insects, so these pollen grains have to be released, and they have to reach the stigma which is there in this flower. Okay, so stigma of a flower it should reach, and then the fertilization is going to occur, zygote formation will occur, and as usual the embryo development will occur in case of plants also. So bisexual. So now this is a unisexual plant. Okay, so this is just the male plant. This is also a unisexual plant. That means it is just a female plant. So example we can say papaya. Okay, so papaya, if you have observed anywhere, so it always it is producing, one plant produces a male flower, the other produces a female flower. So combination, that is pollination, has to occur, then only there is a papaya flower which is giving rise to a fruit. Okay. Yeah, papaya itself. Okay, example you can say papaya flowers itself. Okay, so the male papaya plant will be there, female papaya plant will be there. So they are usually, so they'll be present separately. Okay, so now when they are present together, so the flower from the male, I mean not the flower, the pollen grain from the male has to flow to the female flower of the next plant. Then reproduction, that is basically fertilization, will be seen. Okay, so bisexual flower has both androecium and a gynoecium. Okay, so this also we have discussed. I think we are done with this. Yes. So any doubt you have? So I'll just give this poll. Okay, so you can just, I mean, give the poll means you can just answer it here itself. A, B, C or D is the answer you can mention. So perianth is the condition, okay, in which calyx and corolla are not distinct. Calyx is present but corolla is absent. Corolla is present but calyx is absent. Calyx and corolla are not present. Okay, so these are not present. So which is that? Any idea? So you can just write the option whether it is A, B, C or D. What is the answer for this one? Any idea? Very good. So this one is, yes, so it is calyx and corolla are not distinct. So they are no, we cannot easily differentiate between them. So that is a perianth. So now a typical flower is having 4 different kinds of whorls, okay, arranged on end of the stalk or a pedicel. So the flower structure. Okay, so this is a flower now. So on to this flower, so now as they have mentioned, so different kinds of whorls are arranged on an end of the stalk, not this end but this end. Okay, so this end of the stalk that they are arranged, and so let's say this is the structure. So we can see there is a petal over here. Okay, so there is a petal formation which we can see. Also we can find a sepal formation from this stalk itself. Okay, that is end of the stalk. So what is this part? So I'll just highlight that. Okay, so what this particular part which is this, so what do we call this part? Okay, so peduncle, thalamus, receptacle, both B and C. Yes. Yes, so thalamus and receptacle one and the same. Okay, so this and this one and the same. So answer is both B and C. Okay, so you can remember this one. So this is a new term. I understand because you do not have this in your book. Okay, so thalamus and receptacle one and the same. Okay, so it is both B and C. So this is the correct answer. Very good. Okay, so now proximal end of the filament of the stamen. Okay, so proximal end of filament of the stamen is attached to, okay, anther, connective, placenta, thalamus or a petal. So which is that proximal end? So now proximal end, I'll just explain that. Now here itself I'll explain. So some of the androecium which are arising, so they are attached at the thalamus. Okay, so all the 4 balls what are there, so they are arising from the thalamus itself. Now which is proximal? Proximal meaning here is nearer. Okay, so nearer with respect to the thalamus. Okay, so now this is a proximal end. This part which is here, so this is a distal end. Okay, so this is a distal end because this is away from the thalamus. This is the proximal end because it is nearer to the thalamus. That is why the answer can be thalamus or petal, because some of the the androecium what are there, so they can arise from the petal also. Okay, so some will arise from the petal also, some can arise from the receptacle also. So it is for this question it is thalamus or a pistil. Okay, yes, so D, you gave the answer. Yes, that's the right answer. Okay, all right, so before I end this session, okay, so I think I finished all the questions also. Yes, so I'll end this session. So next session, I think I have not yet assigned. Anyway, I'll come up with different topic. Okay. So anything that you want me to distal end. Distal end is this one. Okay. So where did I draw that? 1 second, I'll explain. Yeah. So now this is a proximal end. 1 second. I'll clear this up. Okay. So let's say, where is the cursor? Yeah, Yeah, I can see now. Okay, so now let's say there is this particular structure. So now this is a filament and here is the anther. So usually this particular filament can get attached onto the receptacle. Okay, or in certain cases we can see that this particular filament can get attached onto the petal also. So it can be attached here or here. Okay, so wherever with reference to the thalamus, we are saying it with reference to the thalamus. So now this end of the filament, what is there? So this we call as a proximal end, because it is with reference nearer. Proximal meaning is nearer. So this end is nearer to the thalamus or a petal, and this end, so this is the end, the another end of the filament. So another end of the filament is the distal end, and the distal end is attached where? Distal end is attached to the anther. Okay, so it is attached at the anther, so that is why. So there is a proximal end and a distal end. Is this clear? Yes, so distal end of the filament will be anther. Yes. Okay, so I'll end this session. Okay, so before that, one second. Is this clear? Any doubt? Okay, clear, right? Okay. All right. So, there is a new batch that is starting from 13th of April. That is Avengers batch. So, the mode of delivery here is English. Okay, so if you are preparing those who are in class 9, so you can go for the subscription now also, because there is a new batch that is coming, and there is one more batch we just started on the 6th of April. So you will have access to this also, where you can also watch the recordings. Okay, so if you are planning to take the subscription, you can use my referral code VANIYT. Okay, so with this referral code you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. Thank you, Ridhima. Ridhima is in class 10 or class 9? I have seen your name yesterday also in class 10. So class 10. Class 10, I guess, because you were able to answer everything in yesterday's class. So just entered class 10, right? So this is introducing community. So never miss on any update from your favorite educator. Get session notes and practice material. Share your feedback directly with the educator via poll. Okay, so check out the link to this educator community below. Okay, so Bucks Bounty, opportunity for all learners to report any inappropriate content in the video. So be the first one to report a particular issue to claim your prize. Report any inappropriate content using the form in the description. So how you can watch my special classes? All you need to do is download the Unacademy Learner app. Open the app and click on Get Started. Okay, then you can enter your mobile number and OTP. Sign up using your email ID. Okay, and after that you can select your class, that is class 6 to 12. Okay, then you can once you do that, you can select your category also, that is ICSE. So select your preferred language. So you can go for English, Hindi or English based on your preference. So go to the description of this video and click on the special class link. Click on notify me and you will get notified 10 minutes before the class. So you can also use the code VANIYT to unlock the free products that are there on Unacademy platform. Okay, so you can use those, or you can mainly unlock them with this code, and you can use those free products, so that you can, it will be more of a practice for you all. Okay, so any doubt that you have, you can get in touch with the Telegram channel of mine. So that is Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10. Okay, so you can search this in Telegram. So you will find you'll find my Telegram, so you can join in there, so I can send you. So again, like few days I'm saying that I'll be sending the notes. So by Sunday, okay, so by Sunday I'll be sending all the notes. Okay, so you can join in this channel. So that is Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10. Okay. Okay, Okay, so thank you everyone. So you can click on bell icon to get notified about the classes. So subscribe to our channel, that is Unacademy, ICSE and ISC boards. Like and share the video and download the app now. So that is Unacademy Learners app, and this PDF you will find. So I'll find it, I'll send it on Vani Kari ICSC class 9 and 10, so you can download it from there. Okay, so see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone, thank you so much.